Hello, Scaredy Cats, it's me, Scaredy Matt. There are three things that get my attention in a story. Number one, obviously, is horror. Number two, superheroes. I love those little guys in their various underpants. Number three, psychedelic, cosmic, quasi-mystic sci-fi. And that sounds like a really specific combination, but it's actually a pretty common combination in comic books. You've got your Swamp Things, your Doctors Strange, your Animals Man. You've got, to some degree, Sandman even is kind of that too. The thing about shared superhero worlds is that you've already bought into all sorts of weird conceits. There's magic in the world, but there's also guys who build Iron Man suits. There's an infinite multiverse where anything can happen and also already has happened. But each universe itself is infinite, from the vast reaches of space to the subatomic micro-universe invisible to the eye. No idea is too outlandish. You just buy in because that's the entire point of these worlds. The whole thing is that it's impossible, outlandish, larger than life. That's what you're there for. It's easy to take an old dead property and resuscitate it in a new genre. Take some character nobody cared about and give them an edgy makeover. There's no real risk. It's not like you're going to use Man-Thing, or Morbius the Living Vampire, or Etrigan the Demon, or Buona Beast, or Matter-Eater Lad for anything else really. And if the redo doesn't take, you can always just ignore it later. That's how you do it in comic books. If people don't like the story, no, it didn't happen. A wizard made it look like it happened, but it didn't. It didn't happen. What is very unusual in the world of superhero comics, however, is to take an A-list character and put them in a completely different type of story. Huge changes to the status quo of major characters are generally not received well by fans, particularly when the tone of a character's story shifts dramatically. Take, for example, Frankencastle. This was when Marvel's resident fascist wet dream, the Punisher, finally got his ass killed and then comes back as a Frankenstein. And if that sounds like fun to you, if that sounds like a refreshing change to a very stale character, because how many times can you watch the same grim, stone-faced guy just mow down mobsters again and again, then you're probably not the type of person who writes letters to Marvel editorial. All they want is the same story sold to them every month. So you know the Hulk, right? Everybody knows the Hulk. Big green guy smashes stuff. You would not like him when he gets angry. That's his thing.
Dark blue banner, belted by gamma rays, turned into the Hulk.
Ain't he on glamour rays?
The Hulk is iconic. He's one of the main characters in the Avengers movies, which can make a lot of money. A lot of toys got sold based on the Hulk. He's not a property that Disney, Marvel's parent company, a famously risk-averse corporation, are likely to want to futz around with. You would think that given the character's profile, they'd play it pretty safe. Right? But then there's Immortal Hulk, written by Al Ewing with art by Joe Bennett. Most horror trades off the idea of death. It's scary to die. It's the thing our bodies are designed to be scared of. It's practically the evolutionary purpose of fear, to make us averse to dying so that we can pass on our genes. If you know what that means. But you know what's scarier than dying, apparently? Not dying. The Immortal Hulk is unkillable in the strongest sense of the term. His body no longer obeys the rules of rationality even within the sci-fi world he lives in. He's something between a mix of science and magic, a damned creature touched by the deepest hell. Bruce Banner can die, and he does a lot, but the Hulk can't. No matter what you do, no matter how implausible, he will come back. He always comes back. Shoot a vibranium arrow directly into his hypothalamus? He'll come back. Vivisect him into dozens of pieces? Yeah, he'll come back. Okay, why don't we just destroy the entire universe? Guess what, bud? He's just gonna merge with the universe and come back to destroy the next universe. He's not the Hulk like you might know him, though that Hulk is around. Nowadays, Bruce Banner has dissociative identity disorder. He's a plural system with many individuals inside. It's not handled particularly sensitively, but just go with it. All of them have complex relationships with one another. There's Banner, naturally, the traditional Hulk you're familiar with, here called the Savage Hulk, or the Big Guy by other Hulks. There's Joe Fixit, formerly a Nevada bouncer and Grey Hulk with a puckish attitude, but now just like another guy in Banner's body. And then there's the main Hulk, the guy in charge now, a guy called Devil Hulk. And I know how that sounds. But he's not that kind of devil. He's more like John Milton's Satan, or Kali, or the Jungian Shadow. He's the destroyer, but destruction is creation. He's Banner's inverse, but not his opposite, just in the way that all things contain their negation. If that sounds confusing, it is! It is confusing! So much of the comic is focused on the nature, real or illusory, of duality. Devil Hulk isn't evil, but he's definitely not good. He's the part of Banner's mind that he created to protect himself from his father's abuse. Or maybe he was always there and just manifested to protect Banner from his father. Maybe we all have a devil inside of us. Or maybe it's dissociative identity disorder. Or maybe it's dissociative identity disorder mixed with some other sort of new disorder that's unique to people affected by gamma radiation. It's not clear, and it's never gonna be clear, because there are no rules to the Hulk. Banner is from the world of rules. Hulk is from the world of metaphor. Devil Hulk is violent and sadistic, but he loves and cares for Bruce Banner and the big guy. He wants to protect people and make the world a better place, but he also loves finding worthy targets to exact horrible vengeance on. He wants to destroy the world of humanity, which sounds pretty bad, right? Like, probably don't say that in a comic book. That does make you look like a bad guy there, Devil Hulk. But when he explains what he means, it's kind of like, yeah, man, when you put it that way, it's a good idea. The way he sees it, humanity is ruining the planet because it's easier for our institutions to profit in the short term than do what's best for us in the long term. I'll leave it to you whether you agree with that assessment. By destroying the human world, he forces it to rebuild itself into something new, hopefully something better. Destruction is creation, light is dark, Banner is Hulk. Or is he doing something more sinister? Is he using Banner and the other Hulks to accumulate power? Are his goals altruistic or just a way to indulge his sadism? Or both? And does it matter? One thing the story keeps bringing up is the tagline from the first Hulk comic. Is he man, or is he monster, or is he both? Immortal Hulk keeps you guessing and kind of wondering whether that distinction even matters in the first place. His goals are complicated by the intrusion of evil cosmic forces into the world through a green door, a rift between the material world and the shadow of creation. If God created the universe, God's negation, God's Hulk, created the shadow. The green door opened when the gamma bomb that made the Hulk first exploded, and just as it unleashed the Hulk from within Banner, it unleashed the shadow into our world, as though the universe itself is turning into the Hulk. A reflection of itself, something it tried to repress, but something it's always held deep inside. When characters travel to the shadow, they call it hell, because that's the closest word they have to describe it. It's somewhere totally foreign, totally alien and unknowable, but somewhere familiar, and when you go there, you realize the horrible truth that you've always been there. You just didn't know it. And I realize I'm getting a little highfalutin here, so let me point out that it's also the most amazingly violent comic book I've read in a long time. Joe Bennett knows how to draw a fucking monster, baby. Look at this shit. It's like if the Thing was a Hulk and a Venom. Look at Betty Banner's Hulk Sona. She's this horrifying harpy monster. This is the Hulk's wife. She eats his heart one time. Look at this Bull Man. Look at the Bull Man. He's the CEO of a company that's trying to stop the Hulk from reversing climate change. He's a bull, like the symbol of Wall Street. Get it? He's a bull. This monster is the mass media, recuperating the Hulk's radical message. He consumes things and reforms them to be like him, hollow and soulless. This is a real comic that is being published right now. I can't believe they were allowed to make this. And I'm so happy that they did, because I can't imagine that it's selling a lot of Hulk hands. This comic is still going, so it's weird for me to recommend a story like halfway through, but it's real good. It's real good. It's built up a lot of goodwill with me. I want to know where it goes. Read the Immortal Hulk. I got mine online through my local library. So you could do that. Probably, if your library has it. Go to the library. Hulk, smash that like button, am I right, folks? The Hulk, smash. Please hit the like button and subscribe as well.